Who are you?
The question is, who are you?
So at this point, I believe that the Father is calling us to remember who we are. So there is that excerpt in The Lion King in which Simba, he's looking at his reflection in the pond, and then his father shows up in his reflection.
You see, he lives in you.
Oh, and I suppose you know.
Sure do. You're Mufasa's boy.
And, Rafiki's like, you are your father. So we're being called to be made in the image of God, just like the Messiah was, because essentially we are deliverers. We are quote-unquote messiahs. Now, I don't know if you've seen that new movie, Mufasa, but Mufasa definitely is representing, the king and the priest, Melchizedek. He acts like it through and through, and that's what makes him a king. And so we are also called to be kings and priests, right? Like our Father that's in heaven. And so you have the part where Mufasa comes out the clouds and he tells Simba to remember who he is.
You have forgotten who you are, and so forgotten me. Look inside yourself, Simba. You are more than what you have become.
It's so funny because, and I think I lost the rock, but I remember I was in Knoxville and I went over to the store and bought this rock. Yeah, I think I lost it. I think that's a sign. But it said remember on it. Because I said I always want to remember who I am in God. And then I ended up watching The Lion King, and then I saw the part about remember who you are. And I said, okay, we gotta make sure our identity in Christ is, in place. Because one of the huge things that the enemy tries to do is he tries to usurp the identity of God's people. He has done that with the children of Israel by trying to play like he is them. And when I say that, I mean there is a group that are calling themselves Jews, but they are not. They are the synagogue of Satan. And so they have stolen our identity. Now we don't know who we are, and other people don't know who we are. And when we were making, traction, showing receipts, showing historical documentation, showing biblical descriptions like Zechariah 3:10, where it says, I will bring my people from beyond the rivers of Cush. There's a book called Truth and Light, where it literally mentions that Isaiah and Amos were born in Ethiopia. Ethiopia being much larger than what it is now. So, we have been bamboozled, basically. And so now you have all these agendas out right now concerning we're the Native Americans and we're first foundational Black Americans. We don't have anything to do with Africans. Now, I will say some of the foundational Black Americans, those people do think that they have something to do with Africans, but a lot of the ones that are claiming that they're Native American, they'll straight up deny it. No receipts, no anything. And so there is an attack on the identity of the Israelites once again. Now this one's a lot, I don't want to say it's a lot more difficult to navigate through, because really all you have to do is do some research and perhaps your DNA or something like that, but many people aren't willing to do that, and they'll stand on something just because they're tired, they're sick, they don't know what else to believe. They want something to believe in, so they'll start to believe in those things. This is why it's so important to believe in God and believe in His Word, so that the enemy cannot come and bamboozle you. So if someone's being told that they're Native American or that they're a foundational Black American, the first thing that they're going to do is take up their cultures. Now, Native American culture, you can't put it all under one umbrella, but I think the Native American in which they're thinking of is particularly the spiritual one, the one that's sitting in a teepee, having a smoke or whatever, people just using the land, like Japheth dwelling in tents of Shem, because that's what many of the Native Americans are. Now, the problem with the foundational Black American stuff, we heavily identify ourselves with the current culture, the culture of rap music. This music has literally destroyed us. Not all rap, but a lot of rap music. And so when your music is only talking about, let's just sleep around, let's just get the bag, let's unalive other people, drugs, as a child, I didn't think that it mattered. Oh, people will grow up and it'll go away. That's not the truth. You have 60-year-old women on TikTok cussing people out like they're Megan Thee Stallion. It doesn't go away unless there's something that scrubs it clean, okay? And the thing that's going to scrub it clean is the Word of God itself. But now you have the group that's coming in. Oh, we used to practice ancient pagan African religions, the deities. This is who we were. Not even understanding who you were.
I think you're a little confused.
Wrong. I'm not the one who's confused. You don't even know who you are.
Not even understanding that not all of Africa practice, what do you call it when you worship multiple gods? And when you partake in spiritualism, because the Abrahamic groups were in Africa, and that means they worshiped one God. But because of history, the history they teach you in schools, it makes you think that all Africans were worshiping multiple gods and were animeists, I think they call it. That's not the truth. Israel was in Africa. They were worshiping one God. Edom was even worshiping one God. Many of these Shemites were worshiping one God. So that's how you got stuff like, Islam, Ishmael being the son of Abraham. They only worship one God. Now, which God it is, I don't know. Some sources say that it's La or Alat, the moon goddess. That's up for them to pray to God and ask. So people attach themselves to that identity, the African spiritualist identity. In fact, it was so funny because there was one girl that was claiming that she was Native American, but then she had hashtags on her TikTok, and one of them was like hoodoo, and then the other one was like, I don't know if it was Oshun, I don't know. But I told her, I'm like, you're over here cussing out Africans, claiming that you're Native American, but hoodoo comes from African culture, and Oshun definitely comes from Yoruba. So if you're a Native American, why are you partaking in these things? So that shows you the confusion that many of these people have. So now we have our people practicing those things, thinking that's where it comes from. We have rap that's telling them to kill, steal, destroy, sexual immorality, drugs, this kind of thing. Then we have the culture of beauty. Now, historically, black women have been told that we were unattractive because we do not look like the people that oppressed us. First off, I just want to say, we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but against spiritual wickedness in heavenly places, all right? So with that said, understand that your oppressors are being controlled by that spiritual wickedness. That means they can actually not be controlled by that spiritual wickedness if you tell them the truth in God, if they decide that they want to follow it. Now, with that said, not everybody's human, but a lot of people are human. And so if we were to step up and take back our identity, which are the children of Israel, the saviors of the world, there would probably be a lot less crap that goes on. But we are distracted, and we're being told that we're this when we're not this. We're focused on things that don't matter. So the whole beauty thing is one of these things that has infiltrated, and it's nothing but vanity. Proverbs 31:30 says, charm is deceitful, beauty is vain, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. We are so worried about our appearance because we've been told we're ugly and we need to look like the other people. Now, I don't know why my TikTok is just mostly like beauty ads at this point, because God says beauty is inwardly. So you can use all the oil, you can use all the turmeric soap, you can use all the batana, you can use all the hair weave, all the falsies, the fake nails. At the end of the day, it's not going to make you beautiful. The fact of the matter is we need to work on the inward man and stop focusing so much on the outward man. It's not doing anything to change us. So while the foundational black Americans are trying to build something, they can't build it, because what are they building their foundation on? In the Bible, it's called sand. You're building your foundation on your culture of beauty practices that were forced into your being because you were called ugly, and now you guys don't even recognize your own hair and the beauty of it that God made it. Number 2, you're basing your foundation on trash music that is literally meant to destroy you. When I came to God, He told me stop listening to Beyonce. And I said, I think part of me could see why, but He really showed me why. He said, you're worth more than rubies. You're fearfully and wonderfully made. Beyonce is teaching you that your worth is in your sexuality and how well you can drop it hot. And so I said, that's not who I am. But many of us think that's who we are. We think we are the sum of our hind tail. We think we're the sum of our weave. We think we're the sum of our fake eyelashes. We think we're the sun of our skin, the sum of our skin, because as many times as I've heard black women describe themselves as you could shea butter and all this, nobody really knows what that means. All right, should I call myself Nivea because I use Nivea? No. So you got those two. You got them trying to build their identity off of other things in the culture, black excellence, which I really think was actually put into play by our black controllers. Because think about it, what do people deem as black excellence? They deem it as, oh, I went to college and got a 4-year degree or 8-year degree. I'm a physician now. I'm making this much money. My hair is laid. So basically, you're taking on all the customs of the people that oppress you, because you don't have to have a 4-year degree or an 8-year degree to be somebody. You already are somebody by the fact that you're on this planet in the first place. God put you here for a purpose. The Messiah didn't have a degree, okay? When the Pharisees saw him, they were like, how is this man learning letters? Who is he? This guy from this city? He was the whole Messiah saving nations, and not only his nation, other nations as well. He did great feats, the greatest feats of any human, in time. But we're putting our worth on our degrees, how much money that we have, how our hair looks, and it literally is doing nothing for us, literally. First off, these colleges were put into place for programming. And I say that I graduated from Ohio University. I'm not afraid to say it. It really has not done anything for me other than give me bragging rights. And who needs to boast in having a degree? Not I. So you go learn their education that was put into place to keep you silly. And don't get me wrong, yeah, math is good, certain subjects are good. But what they're teaching, as far as us is, you were slaves and that's it. And, we've always been on top. We've always been the rulers. Look at us. And they make you have, $40,000 in debt coming out of college so that you're basically tied to their system. You got to stay working for them. You got to get a bank account. We know that the whole system is ran by fraudsters, but you got to get a bank account. You join a Greek fraternity. You're not even Greek. Greek people are white people, remember? Nothing wrong with being white if you're watching this too. But, I'm just saying, because you're calling yourself a foundational black American and, black excellence, but you're in a Greek. So whose excellence is that? Make it make sense now. Don't just be saying nothing. Go think about it if you don't get it. And then you're a doctor. Well, we're about to get real deep here. So you have the medical symbol. It's a staff. 2 serpents around it. All right? With some wings. Did you ever ask yourself where that came from? You got a college education. You have to, because you have to have at least 8 years. All right? So that staff is the staff of Hermes, a Greek god. Hermes is the god of medicine. He's also the god of banks. He's the god of thieves. And he is the god of liars. All the things before that, lies. Okay? Now, here you are boasting because you're a physician or whatever. And this is the other thing. You are a physician. I mean, those of you who really want to heal people, you are a physician. But now your power and your talent has been handed over to Satan. So Satan has been creating things since his fall to try to mimic God, to try to keep people in bondage. Now you, as a physician, you're partaking in his pharmaceuticals. According to the Bible, pharmaceuticals or pharmakeia is magic, it's witchcraft, it's sorcery. So now you're dealing in that instead of using the skills in which God gave you to heal people. God told us to do several things to heal. He said you can lay hands. He said you can eat herbs. He said diet, fasting, and that kind of thing. Pray on the word and meditate on the word incessantly. Pray incessantly. You as a physician, and the etymology of doctor is teacher, you are supposed to be teaching people how to heal through God. And also healing them through the laying on of hands and words and that kind of thing. That is what you're called to do as a physician. But because Satan has usurped your identity, forced you to go to school under the oppressor, teach you things of fallen angels, and if you know about the Hippocratic Oath, you know that you, as a doctor, if you take that Hippocratic Oath, you are making an oath to the gods of medicine, who are Hermes, who's Asclepius, Apollo, Hell, Hygienia. So he has bamboozled you again into practicing things that are under his kingdom, stripping you of your true identity in Christ so that you can keep other people sick. How many people are actually getting better? I don't know. It don't feel like a lot. So, to me, this is not black excellence. Daniel had the spirit of excellence, and his spirit of excellence came from his obedience to the Most High. That is what is excellent, okay? I want to say something else, too, about this word black. Because at first I was like, it can go either way. But now I'm realizing that there are people that are quote-unquote black that call themselves black because they know that they are spiritually dark. And that is actually what black meant in the Bible. It means death, it means darkness, it means gloom, it means ignorance, it means having no light. And so they tricked us into calling ourselves that because they were trying to get us to come into alignment with that. And so I'm trying to funnel it out of my vocabulary, but I haven't quite came up with a word to replace it. Maybe Negro, I don't know. They seem to flag me whenever I say that. So the black excellence that they're talking about is the death, the gloom, the uncleanness, going out and getting that 8-year degree, getting the bag, being programmed into the dark kingdom. Why do you think when you graduate you got that cap on, all right? Have you ever asked yourself where the cap comes from? And then you take the little tassel and you turn it to the side. That's a whole ritual, y'all. A Masonic ritual. They have literally cut off your light. You have crossed over to the dark side. Now your whole life is just about whatever you can do to please the dark kingdom. They show that in that movie Us. You know, the dude, what's his name? I don't know, he's from Key and Peele, but he's the one that made that movie Us. He made Nope, and then he made Get Out, I think. And he puts biblical scriptures in all of them. I don't even know if the guy's a believer, but when you look at the movies, you're like, oh, yeah, there's something here. And so that movie Us seemed to be about these people, these black people, black excellent people, who left their identity for the world. I don't know, go and watch it. I think I need to watch it again. I think we're breaking out the prison, y'all. Come up out of her, he says, my people, lest you partake in her sins. God really does care for you. I'm realizing how much he does really care just about everyone. But he has hated us because of what we have done. And we have done wickedness. All of us. Literally. All of us. And he hates that because he doesn't want to see his creation destroyed. But if we continue down this path, it's going to continue to be destroyed. And that's when God's like, I've had enough. So come up out of her, my people. I'm going to make a few videos on identity because this is very, very important at this time. We need to understand who we are and where we came from. And also, shout out to, you know, all of the Gentiles, grafted in or not, into Israel. Although this video isn't necessarily directed at you, please keep up the faith. We love you. We appreciate you. We thank you for your endeavors. We thank you for sticking to Christ. And I pray that the Father gives you the will to want to see his people saved, the lineage of Israel. So you guys be blessed and have a good one. See ya.
How can I go back? I'm not who I used to be.
Remember who you are. You are my son and the one true king. Remember.